presentation this morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here at our coffee with the principal. I am Dr. Sidhu. I'm the principal at Kennedy High School.
And I'm Jennifer Sasai, principal at Walker Junior High. We're so happy that all of you have joined us in person and on Zoom and then later on YouTube, so you can watch this back.
So we have a very special presentation. This was a parent requested presentation on substance abuse, awareness, and also how it is impacting our students' mental health. We have some very special, very important guests with us today as well. They'll be introduced as we start the presentation. And please make sure that you ask us questions if you have any. And we also have some things for you to take a look at this morning as well in terms of the substances that are floating around, and we'll get into that during the presentation and explain a little bit about that and what we're seeing out there. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to our social worker at Kennedy, Stephanie Flores, and then she will hand it over to Officer Wilson and our special guests today.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Stephanie Flores. I'm the licensed mental health clinician, social worker over at Kennedy High School. And I'm here with some wonderful guests, our SROs, which is exciting because we're going to really take a deep dive into what is currently happening, what our students are accessing, and then also what to do about that. Okay, so we're not just leaving you empty-handed. There's a lot of tools we want you to walk away with today. Oh, let me grab that clicker. So today what we're going to jump into is again about substance use. We're going to talk, our wonderful officers are going to talk about the current trends that we are seeing. And I want everybody to have open minds because this can be overwhelming to hear that this is what is our world today for our kids. It's very different than what we all had. We want to talk about the warning signs of how you can, be mindful of if your son or daughter is presenting this way. Also, what is your role as their parent and how can you protect them from these things? And then also some resources as well if you have concerns about your child in the current and then how to seek that support. So I'm going to pass it off to Officer Wilson.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm Officer Wilson. I'm the school resource officer for not only Walker Junior where we're at, but also Kennedy High School and the 3 elementary schools that we have here in La Palma. I brought with us a couple of special guests. First off, also a school resource officer from Cypress PD, Officer Martinez, and another school resource officer from Buena Park Police Department, Officer Ginter. Okay, they came with me today to express that we have a team. We're a team also with the administration staff here at Walker, at Kennedy, and also at the elementary schools. And the one biggest, most important thing that we have to say is that we're here to keep your kids safe. We see a lot of things at the schools that you may not see, but I can assure you that we're taking the steps to keep your kids safe. But the importance of that is the team. Not only are we a team here at the schools, but we need you guys to be the team as well as parents. Because often we see parents come in and they're only called in when something bad happens. And we need to be a little bit more proactive and productive at the home and what the kids actually go through at home before they show up on our campuses. So we're going to go through a couple things that we see here on a day-to-day basis. You see here, one of our biggest issues that we have now is there's tons of vapes that are on our campus. We see them day to day. I actually brought in, you'll see sprawled out on the table, all the vapes and different drugs that we've taken from our school campuses. For those of you that can't see it now, there's a whole table full of it, and we'll have a show and tell afterwards, and you guys can come and see it. We'll educate you on what those look like and how to identify them at home. But the most important part is we're reactive as police officers. We're at the schools, and when we're on school, we can't search everybody. The principals and the assistant principals have the capability of searching, but they don't want to just pull kids to the side and search them for no reason. There has to be something that that tips us off that we believe that they may have something illegal on them or something that's going to affect the other kids. What we're seeing is that a lot of the kids are bringing different vapes, going to the bathrooms, using drugs and vapes while they're in the bathrooms in areas that we can't see. Your kids are smart, okay? Your kids, and I don't want to offend any of the parents, because a lot of the times when I say it happens at the home, it's how the kids are raised and also who they hang out with, what they have capability, and who their adolescents are, who their brothers and sisters are, who their cousins are, who their friends are. It goes back to how they're supplied with money, being online, having a phone. You guys have to know all that. You have to have a strong relationship with your kids. So I don't want to point the finger at the parents and hold you guys completely responsible. And I don't mean to offend any of your parents whatsoever during the presentation today, but we're pushing a lot of this on you guys, because that's where we know it's coming from, is having a relationship with your kids and monitoring them at home prior to coming to our campus. We're going to be as safe as we can while they're on our campuses and prevent this. But like I said, we're reactive. We're there after they've already used the drug. We're there saving the kid's life once they've already taken a drug. We're not there having that strong relationship at home like you guys do. And knowing what monitoring their phone, monitoring the time they spend on phone, who their friends are, where they go at night. Are they hanging out after school too long and getting into a lot of trouble? All these things we see, and we know that it's the issue. I won't go too far in that, but if I do offend anybody, the door's right there. You can just leave now. Just kidding.
Oh my. Oh my.
And if you're online, you can just turn off your online platform. No, it's for us to talk and if you have any questions or anything along the way, we want open forum so you can ask. We're here. We're school resource officers. We're your resource. We're here to work as a team to prevent this from happening. We have a lot of different things that we do to teach kids to make the right choices and to focus on consequences, but that doesn't always work. You as parents know that your kids might be different when they're not around you. They might be different when they're not around me. Okay. They may have a secret life at school. They may have a secret life with friends. They may have a secret life online. All these things, you got to educate yourself. And that would be a different training, online training and internet training, all that stuff separate than just having that relationship. That's so important today, and to prevent what we see on campuses day to day. All this stuff that you see on the table is taken from our schools, from our middle schools and our high schools, and it's within the last couple of years, and it's on a daily occurrence that we take things from schools. And us as officers, we're not trying to get your kids in trouble. We don't want to give them a criminal record. We don't want to give them a citation and hold them to a criminal level, which is going to affect them for the rest of their life. We want to work with the schools, prevent it from happening in the future, so that they can actually succeed when they go into the world and don't have a criminal record that's going to hold them back. So when we see something like this, we may hold it at the school. But I'm not going to give you a citation that's going to be with you for the rest of your life, unless it's to the point where they're endangering the safety of others. So I'm going to educate you on vapes a little bit. Vapes are rechargeable modules combined with interchangeable e-liquids. A lot of times they'll have different liquids that have different flavors. They did ban flavors at one point, but they still can get them. And you can get anything online nowadays. And kids can't order things online and still pay for things online behind your back. Okay, believe it or not. And like I said, that's a different training.
They can come back to that one.
Yeah, you can go, you can come back with another internet safety, and that's a different training. So I began to say that we educate your kids. I don't know how many are you familiar with the PIY program. I have a PIY program for elementary schools. So I teach and empower 6th graders to make good choices before they come into middle school to prevent these kind of things. We go over drugs, alcohol, vapes, all those things, making the right choices, juvenile law. So some of the kids that are in the middle school level can actually recite different laws when they're in middle school. And I say, hey, I told you about this. You learned this in my class. And I've told you, now the ball is in your court and you've taken the ball out of my hands, and now I have to do my job. So I give them that respect. They know what they did wrong, but they still do it. And then I also challenge them and I say, I'm gonna haunt you. And your kids that have gone through my class will remember this. I said, I'm gonna haunt every one of you in this class. I'm gonna haunt you. And then they all look at me all scared. And then they look at me and ask why. And I said, because when you are offered a vape at middle school, when you are offered a vape at high school, you're gonna think of me and you're gonna think of this class. And then it's up to you to make that right decision. And a lot of them just shock. And I bring 8th graders or 4 or 5 8th graders that are in middle school currently that I have talked to the elementary school. And I say, how many of you, 4 or 5 of them, have been offered a vape while on campus? And every one of them raises their hand. How many of you have seen vapes in the bathroom? Every one of them raises their hand. All of them have seen this stuff. If they're not telling you, they have. It's on our campuses, it's there. Not to mention fentanyl and different other drugs that we'll talk about. So if you see anything that looks like this, some of them are nicotine, some of them have marijuana in them. It's hard to tell. You won't be able to tell. A lot of times there's a little triangle on there that has a marijuana leaf. That'll lead you to believe that there's marijuana in. Next slide. Different things are in the vapes besides just the nicotine and the marijuana that affect your kids. There's lead, acetaldehyde, formaldehyde, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Toluene, which is like a paint thinner. There's different things that are in your vapes. That acetone, that's like a nail polish. Acrylamide, that's used for like different cleaners, and nickel. And this liquid nicotine here, there's a lot of flavor companies out there that push out this flavor. It may have propylene glycol or glycerin or something like that as a main ingredient. I used to work at a flavor company, so I know a little bit about it. But in the flavors, it's not regulated. There's MSDSs, that material data safety sheets, that none of those flavors that are in there are meant to be burnt or vaporized. So a lot of those are affecting our kids, and there's not anything, just like cigarettes when they first came out, we didn't know how harmful they were, just like e-cigarettes and vapes. The studies are starting to come out of how it's harming you and how it's harming our kids, popcorn love, etc. But the flavors and stuff, it's really dangerous. I used to have a respirator and a mask just to be around the flavors, let alone vaporize it. Thanks. Oh, we will have show and tell for you guys afterwards, so you can come and take a look. Getting into fentanyl, what we're seeing today, 2022 DA sees more than 59.6 million fentanyl laced pills and more than 13,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. That's significant. In 2022, DA sees equivalent to more than 395.7 million lethal doses of fentanyl. A lethal dose could be the size of what's next to that penny there. Okay. Different people have different reactions to different things, just like any kind of medication. You may have a different reaction to a certain amount of fentanyl or a certain amount of pill. It doesn't even have to be illegal. I mean, it could be Tylenol, so you have a different effect. Everybody has different effects. That might be a lethal dose to somebody. We've seen it on our campuses. Kids will take what they think is a Percocet or what they think is what else? And they'll think it's that, and these drugs are being imported from China, from Mexico, and 90% of the drugs that come from there, I'm not exact percentage on that, are laced with fentanyl. You know, that's what their binder is. Many fake or illegal pills are made to look like prescription opioids. I'm sure you guys have seen that, such as oxycodone, hydrocodone, alprazolam, Percocet, Adderall, but really contain fentanyl or methamphetamine in them. Only 2 milligrams of fentanyl is the average lethal dose, and that's what you see to your right. 6 out of 10 fentanyl-laced fake prescription pills now potentially contain a lethal dose of fentanyl. That's significant. I've seen it. I've saved a few kids. Dr. Sidhu was there and saw, you know, one of our kids that actually, we don't know what it was, but we responded, and the kid was unconscious and not responding. And we had to give several doses of Narcan. Okay, we save kids like that all the time, but it's a reactive type thing. We weren't there in the kids' lives like your parents are to prevent him from going down that path. And like Stephanie is going to go through you, we're going to talk a lot about how you can prevent that as a mental health and what they're going through in their life to then get to them to that point. That's one of the stories I have. You can go to the next slide, you can kind of see what the pills look like. There's real and there's fake, and you can see they look a lot alike. You can't really tell them the difference. They shouldn't even have these unless they're prescribed anyway. But you'll see some of these on campus. And it's not everybody, it's not even a large percent of the kids. But if one kid has it, then there are going to be other kids that are kind of curious about it, and curious nature. They're going to probably want to try it unless they have the education. Not only from us, because we can't be everywhere at once, but also from you guys. You guys got to have a real good relationship with them to tell them about these things. The ways they get them, can one of you tell us the ways they get them or what you've seen? One of you officers like that. I think Officer Genter has a 16-year-old.
Yes, I have a 16-year-old boy, and I asked him, how does his friends or how's the easiest way to get them? And which we all know, internet. Everything's on the internet. And he pulled some sites up on his phone. Here, look at this one, Dad. Some guy selling drugs right on the internet. It's real easy. All you gotta do is what do they call it, Zelle?
Yes.
Or a pay cash app or something. Or if you give them money, sometimes they will meet you at McDonald's or a liquor store, Walmart. And all it takes is cash. So he tells me this at his school. He's had some friends come up to him, hey, you want to buy some stuff? And he's like, no. But it's real easy to get it on the internet. You got to check your daughters or your sons' computers. Cell phones are the easiest way to get it. It's right there on the cell phone. Okay. You must check their cell phones I check my boy's cell phone once a month. But it's up to you. You're the parent. Check it all the time. You know they're going to get mad at you. Okay, it's going to happen. But you're the parent. Take care of it. Okay, it's the easiest way to buy drugs these days is on the internet.
Yeah, basically what you said, Instagram, they're following pages and they call them plugs, right? Oh, I have a plug and they can hook me up. Hey, what's your plug's app? I mean, what's their Instagram name? These are the words, the terms that they're using. So if you're reading their text messages and you see this and you're like, I don't know what a plug or an ad is, whatever. You have to be aware that they know if you check their phone, they don't want you to read that kind of stuff. So they're gonna call it different names and but yeah, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp,
And a lot,
Telegram. I just had a kid yesterday bought stuff on Telegram. So you may not think that your kid knows how to use, but I'm sure they are all savvy with all the apps that are out there. So
Snapchat, I mean, there's different forums all over that they can purchase this up. Like I said, that's another training. You guys, we don't even really understand all the stuff that's out there. There's so much stuff out there that your kids might be a little sneaky, and I'm not trying to offend you. Your kids might be sneaky. They may have a different life than what you think they have. They may completely have a different life, and they may be, portray themselves a certain way until they're here. There may be different people when they're here at school. They may be different people around me. But that education needs to happen, and we need to, as parents and as law enforcement, we have to educate ourselves on what our kids are doing, and how to access these things and how to regulate their usage on the phone. There's apps that, as parents, there's programs that you can regulate exactly what they look at online. You'll get a message and an alert what they're looking at, how long they spend. So cut off everything besides that phone. That's the only communication they have. Who are their friends? Who are they hanging out with? Are they hanging out? How long? All those things. Those are crucial to things that lead to this. There's apps actually that will look like a calculator that they can hide things on. So you'll go to your phone like this, and you'll have a calculator, right? And then the code would be whatever code they want. You can say 4 + 4 + 18, and then it would open up a privacy app that they can put private things into that you as parents wouldn't even know is there. There's different apps like that they'll try to hide stuff from you and you won't know it's there. But like I said, that's a different training. That's a different conversation. to try to prevent this from happening. So we can't give you all the tools today, unfortunately. We don't have 8 hours. To go through.
Just one other thing, like my partner over here, Martina said, the plug. You can also go on the internet yourselves and look up terminology for drug stuff. What do you call it? Emo things, what do they call it? No, there we go. Oh,
So I'll be
I'm a tech guy.
We're gonna be here, if you have any questions, we'll be here to go through this stuff. I'm gonna give back to Stephanie, who's gonna go through the emojis and stuff that he doesn't know about.
No, I love it. I love it.
I was
But
like, what?
these are the resources that are at your fingertips, just like it is for our kids, right? When our kids don't know something and they don't want to come ask us, what do? Google. So go ahead, take a picture if it's clear enough. But I highly recommend this awareness is important. And I don't want this just to be about, oh God, I gotta watch everything, I gotta catch them in the act, and because that leads to what? A power struggle, right? And what that does also teaches our kids, I don't trust you. I don't trust you at all. I want everybody in here to stop and say, I am here right now. I have been doing things that tell my kid and have taught them values, things that are good that make them good already. Okay, but I as a parent need to nurture that good when they're stuck in a world of this. And if we don't nurture the good at home and see that in them, then when they go into this, they're not going to see the good in themselves to say, yeah, I can say no. So that's what we're going to get into now. I know this is really scary stuff, but I really want you guys to just have this awareness, and then also what you can do about it with regards to your relationship with your child, because that is key. And we're going to go into that. Just in terms of warning signs, in the event that your child is already in this space, maybe they are experimenting, maybe they're addicted. A lot of the times the signs are not always clear as day. Again, a lot of these vapes look like USBs. I mean, they're doing it in class sometimes and we can't catch it because it's so easily accessible and it's so easily hidden and looking like a regular item, right? So noticing a change in your child is key. Anytime you start noticing, hey, they used to go to school, they were never ditching, or, oh, they were getting really good grades and all of a sudden something changed, now they're not. Or, oh, they're totally hanging out with different kids. These are not the friends they used to hang out with. Change means something might be happening. Doesn't mean your kid's bad. It means something might be happening to your child that is causing them to not be their best self. And that's how I want this to be looked at, because if we can start with something's happening, it allows for that conversation to be had instead of an attack. Well, I am going to check your stuff and I don't trust you and I'm going to go there. Let's start with what's happening, right? So some of the signs, obviously, low motivation, they're irritable all the time, they're argumentative, and you're like, whoa, this is a shift. Like, this is not usually how my kid is. Difficulty with concentration, they're not able to stay on task with their homework all of a sudden, and they used to be. Obviously, slurred speech, coordination problems, sometimes if they are under the influence, maybe you can't tell, like, especially with marijuana and nicotine. Sometimes it's not going to be that obvious. If they're drunk, we can catch some of that stuff. But some of these things long-term can start to appear that they never dealt with before. Again, changes in friendships, finding any type of alcohol or drug paraphernalia on them. I know the first thing they'll say is, that's not mine, it's my friend's. Please, God, don't fall for that. Why is it in my house? Let's talk about that. Where did it come from if it's not yours? Okay, let's have a conversation, right? Missing prescription drugs or alcohol in your home. Hey, dad had surgery. We have oxycodone in the house for his pain. He never used it. It's in the cabinet. Doesn't need to be there. Because then, again, access, like our officer said, doesn't always look like from school. So again, just being mindful of if these things are available, being aware of them. If there's alcohol, just being mindful. Changes in weight, sometimes, especially with some of the substances, it will lead to weight loss if they are using regularly. And again, red eyes and things like that are typical signs of smoking. But again, don't take these warning signs as one thing. Warning signs need to come with lots of things. But I would say the biggest one is any type of change in your child, academic, social, emotionally. If changes happen where you're like, something's going on, because this can also be the same warning signs as suffering from a mental illness. And this is where it can get really, really tough. But all I care about you guys doing is noticing that something's happening to your kid that's leading to this change and starting there. So Dr. Gabor Mate, highly regarded physician, done a lot of trauma research, trauma expert. I want you guys to hear this in terms of what every child needs, but nobody teaches this as parents. And I'll be honest, when I tell you these things, I want you to also reflect on your childhood and ask yourself if you had these needs met, because it's really, really painful for me to come and ask you to give this to your kids when you never had it met. But I want today to be about awareness to these things, because then with awareness of maybe I didn't have that, but wow, can I give this to my kid? And then I can protect them from all this. That's what I want us learning today, okay? So number one, the biggest piece is twofold: attachment and authenticity. Attachment is your relationship, safe, secure, nurturing. That is number one. Number two is allowing your child that no matter what they do, you will always love them. They can be their authentic self. They can lose their mind and come home upset and slam doors and scream and yell. And you can see that as like, okay, we're in a moment right now. Do we get stressed? We adults get stressed. We don't always handle ourselves. Why do we expect our kids to? If we can allow them to just be themselves and not define them by these moments of time, we are allowing them to feel safe with us. And when they feel safe at home, they don't have a reason to want to go hide pain and deal with it with this. Children typically use because they're trying to rid themselves of some type of pain. And it usually, out of all the kids that have been here for over 10 years, it's always pain that they lack from what they want from home, majority of the time. Yes, there's bullying. Yes, there's peer influence, but a lot of those things hurt them so badly because home is not whole. If home is whole, they can deal with the kid who's going to be a jerk to them and brush them off because they know who they are. If home is whole, they can be offered drugs and be like, oh, heck no, that's not my path. I know my path and my parents know my path. And they've made me believe that, right? So how does authenticity and attachment happen? Number one, unconditional, safe, nurturing relationship. Okay. Number two, I think this is the hardest one. A child should never have to work to make the relationship with us. If they lose it and it's all bad, it's not, we don't talk about it. It's about them going back and us having a conversation to repair what happened in that relationship. It's up to us to repair or to say, hey, I don't really like how that was handled, but something's going on. Let's talk about it. Okay, now the kid's able to say sorry. Now we are recovering. That is our responsibility as parents, to help recover the relationship, no matter what bad happens, no matter what stressors we face, no matter what mistakes are made. If we can do that, we're telling our kid, you will always be wonderful. I will always see your wonderfulness. So go into the world and you will be just fine. I believe in you, so then I don't have to deal with this. Freedom to experience all their emotions without judgment. Guys, they're adolescents. They feel their emotions very big, and it's not because they want to punish you, it's because their brains are only thus far progressed. 27 is a fully developed brain. We're talking about our 7th graders to even our seniors. It's not always going to be perfect, okay? So they're going to have big emotions, but we're not going to define them as less than 4 big emotions. We're going to help them through those emotions. Spontaneous, free, creative experiences in nature, okay? And again, this can feel weird because your kids are older. Get them outside. Go do things together where it's not about, did you do your laundry? Did you do your chores? Whatever. Go have fun with them. Experience joy with them, not in front of a TV, not on an iPad, right? Bring them back to the world we grew up in, because it's essential to their human development. Okay, so our goal for all things, to protect our kids from mental illness, to protect our kids from trauma at school with bullying and negative peer relationships and drugs, is to promote wellness in them. How do we promote wellness? Well, guess what, guys? You guys hold the superpower, okay? I cannot tell you how many children talk to me and their pain lies in wishing their mom or dad could love them this way, could see their greatness this way, could give them attention the way they want. I have seniors that are pained this way still. This is not when they're kinder to fifth only. It exists now. So how do we use this? How do we use our superpower effectively? Okay. I want you guys creating connection like they talked about, right? If the home is whole, it's connection through collaboration, not connection through power struggle. I'm not connecting with you by ruling your world because I'm your parent and you do what I say and I'm going to protect you. I'm going to connect with you to promote collaboration. So even after walking here today, go home, ask your kids to educate you about the here and now, because guess what? This is not our childhood. We did not grow up this way. And we all need to stop pretending we think we know. Because when I was not left, no. Let them educate you. They need to be heard. They need to be seen as the experts in their world. And you jump on that train with them to guide them through it. Because again, tough love, we all have this. It does not work. It does not work, okay? I promise you, you will get your children doing what you want them to do if you are doing the collaboration piece. Let's work together to get you to the space. You're struggling at school, let's work together to get you doing your work. Let's work together to find out what's getting in the way. I'm here beside you to walk through this with you. Always, no matter what it is, right? Because that does what? Attachment. And it also lets them be themselves without judgment. They're going through something, something's happening.
How do you work through that?
Yes.
How do you work with a grandson sees his mom OD and La Palma standing there doing nothing and allow him to see her die?
And
How is that?
Yeah.
And he's 7.
Yeah.
Did they remove him? No. I didn't even realize he was standing there trying to save my daughter. And he's got to live with that.
And guys,
And you guys were there.
I'm trying to say that probably
No, you guys did nothing.
won't go there. We'll continue the presentation.
and guys, things are gonna happen that are out of our control. And this is why this is all out of our control. Traumas like that are out of our control. But some of this is where you have power.
But where's their procedure in saving somebody or even the child that's standing there watching? Now he has to live with that. And so does Mason. And nobody, they're on campus and nobody has addressed Mason.
And we can talk about resources after too, to be able to support when these things have happened and we can't undo them, but we can respond to them. We still can. So I'd love to talk to you after actually. Using your superpowers. What does this look like? Again, getting curious, okay, meeting our children with curiosity. When they're upset, when something's happening to them, like bringing that to that. We have to be the brave ones to model what we want from our children. Otherwise, how dare we expect it of them? So this is really a powerful, powerful experience. Okay, this is like a first, if you walk away with anything from this, if you lose it on your kids and it was not their fault or something or whatever, but it had nothing to do with them and they were the party to receive it, go back and apologize when you're in a space to be calm. You will see a shift in a child who hears an apology from their parent, let alone an adult, okay? It's powerful stuff and it creates that attachment again. It creates that safety again. Have fun together. How many of you guys get to really just go do stuff that's like on their level to have fun, to be a kid, for us to be a kid again with them in a lot of ways? Sometimes our interactions day to day just look like the to-dos, and those are not fun. Those don't bring joy. Our kids need to have joy with us. So finding ways to family game night or whatever, it doesn't have to cost money. It's just about being present and doing something together that where all of a sudden everybody's laughing. And you're like, wow, we were all stressed 2 days ago, but this can be Again, another tool. Mirror their greatness, okay? If you want your children to know that they are worthy of not saying yes to this, if they are worthy to stand up to that bully, if they are worthy of advocating for themselves to a teacher who maybe is misunderstanding them, it starts with us reminding them that when they feel low or they feel lost. We have to mirror it. You have this. Let's figure out how to do it together, but you got this. I know you can do this. We have to be able to give that to our children so that they, even when they're lost and believing in themselves, we don't ever stop. And again, it's a big task. But again, you take one of these away and I promise you, you will see something different in your kids. I see it every day when parents are willing to come in and do this in therapy with us and with the kid. The kid changes. And it's not because I did anything. It's because I taught the parent something and the parents went home and did something completely opposite of what they've been doing. And lo and behold, this kid is not power struggling by saying, I'm going to get all F's just to piss you off, mom. Yep, that's what I'm going to do because you don't get it. We have a whole shift and the kid doesn't need to do that anymore. They don't need to prove that they're upset through their behavior. They can just work it out with you. You guys can just explore that together. And therapy can be super helpful in that. So I'm not expecting you guys to know how to do all this. So how do we start this, the particular conversation, which is very hard, of substance use? Okay. Invite the conversation, guys. Use this today as, hey, I went to this training. I just want to sit down with you and I want to pick your brain. Help me understand. What do you see at school? Like, you don't even need to start with like, oh my God, I saw the things and none. No. Invite them to educate you. You want to hear what their understanding is because it could be what his son said, which is, Dad, no, never. Let's let our kids say where they're at with this stuff instead of assuming they're gonna fall into it. After you're listening and you're hearing, ask them if you can share your fears, your beliefs about it, what you learned about how one time can lead to extensive substance abuse. It's scary. Have the dialogue about what you're educated in, along with what they know. From there, let's have a conversation. What does this look like in our family? Do we want this in our family? Do you want to use this? I don't want it for you. What does that mean? What can you do if you need help in a moment or you're in a situation? Invite the problem solving that is a compromise of what you all can agree to as a family, not to protect the child. What can we all agree to as a family that meets all of our values? Because I don't ever want to lose you to addiction. I don't want to have to send you to rehab. And I'm sure your kids know someone, family friend, a family member who has suffered this way. And no one wants to suffer this way. So having that open conversation, and if you don't know how to lead it, let them just pick their brain about, like, tell me what you see in school. I want to know. You'll be surprised how much they're willing to share when they have the space to. Helping to avoid behaviors overall, and along with the conversation, right? So we have to have the hard conversation. We have to have that space. How can we make our parenting styles work to protect them? The ways we do have a regular power, right? Of like, I decided if you go to that or if you don't, right? So serving as positive role models, right? Maybe we don't want to go to the big family party because Uncle so-and-so always gets wasted and does stupid things. And maybe I don't want my kids around. Maybe I don't want that to be okay, right? So thinking about what do I show and who do I have my kids around? Connecting with your child's friends and their parents. It is so helpful to know your kids' friends and also how their parents are, right? Just have awareness, because maybe that's not the friend we're going to let you sleep over at, right? Because we know those parents and they're not on our wavelength. That's okay. Pick and choose that way. Facilitating social gatherings. Make it at your house. Be the house that's going to be safe and allow kids to connect in a way that is meaningful to them. They need connection. They do. But maybe creating the safety at your home or out in the community. Okay, well then I'm going to be, at the mall and you guys go to what stores you want. Like, it's just about creating a little bit of an umbrella without having to control everything. Because they do. They need some of that power. Encouraging them to participate in things that are meaningful, that bring them, oh my God, I'm really good at that. What is their talent? What is their passion? Get them into it, prioritize them doing it. Officer Wilson said these kids hanging out at school, like nothing to do, that just welcomes problems, right? If they're involved in something that makes them feel really good about themselves, and it's physically athletic, or it's, it's getting their endorphins going, like that's all good stuff. That's healthy. So whether it's, a sport, whether it's theater, whether it's dance, get them in what brings them like, oh my gosh, I may not know everything, but I'm really good at this one thing and I get to go do it 3 times a week. That's going to make anybody feel good. If they're ever in an unsafe situation, and I would make this a staple in your substance abuse conversation. If you are ever in an unsafe situation, please call me. There will be no judgment. We will not be berating you after we pick you up. I would rather you come home safe and we figure out how to navigate it after. I think sometimes our kids hide stuff from us so out of fear that we're gonna define them as bad. But we have to acknowledge they are adolescents. They're gonna make mistakes. It's developmentally normal. But how do we want to respond to that? Do we want them to hide it and maybe get in more trouble? Do we want them to get in a car where now they're getting driven home by somebody because they said they were gonna get a ride? No. Don't let them problem solve that. Always make this an out, that they will always be able to call you when they need help, and you will always respond without judgment. And you never want them to feel unsafe to do that. It is that in and of itself is going to protect them from a lot of stuff, guys. Research shows overall, parents that are involved with children and their lifestyles and know who they hang out with and are part of their school and involved in what they're doing in class and monitoring their grades and being a part of their world, those are the kids that aren't going to have to go down this road, even if it's at their school. And so that I want you guys to take away as a piece of hope, because being involved, being willing to meet them with curiosity is going to keep them from the things you want them to avoid most. Protecting them from this and removing them from their school, it's everywhere, guys. Unfortunately, it's just the way the world is right now. And so again, bring it back to your superpower. You have a superpower and it doesn't even have to be mom, dad. It's any loving adult that knows how to do this with a kid, and you will get this from them in terms of the relationship. In terms of resources in the community, OC Links is a really great resource. They actually do intensive case management by phone to help you find counseling resources, to help you find any resource that's in the community. They will help you. They'll follow through and say, hey, here's a list of ones that I think might be helpful to you. And then they'll even follow up with you to be like, hey, were you able to get through? Were you able to set it up? So OC Links can be a really good first step. Okay. Also, if you have your own private insurance, exploring through your private insurance, therapists, providers. But there are lots of other community things in terms of parenting resources, all those kinds of things that are even, separate to the individual therapy for a child. Obviously, hotlines and OC Warm Line, these are good. I mean, we share these with the kids all the time. I think they even have them on the back of their IDs, just in case they are having a hard time. You can encourage them like, hey, why don't you just call, because there's professionals on the other line if you don't want to talk to me. They all have these. They're very familiar with them. We push them out a lot. And yeah, okay. I know it's a lot, guys. Take a breath. You're all doing a great job. Any questions?
Oh, yes. Quería pedirle su opinión o si puede dar una sugerencia en cuanto a cuando nuestros hijos no están participando de alguna droga, pero se enteran de que algún amigo o compañerito está pasando por ahí y ellos se preocupan y muestran como preocupación y nos comentan a nosotros como padres qué debemos de decirle a ellos. So I want your opinion, or you can give me some idea of what to do when our kids are not using drugs, but they know their friends are, and they come home worried and they're expressing their feelings about worry. What can we do to help them?
I would say, first off, applaud that they are talking to you about that and asking you for help. well, like truly, I want you to know that is a really, really wonderful experience that you created for your kids to be able to do. I would encourage in those situations that your child can come talk to anybody on campus if they have a fear of a child using and it's a safety problem. Because like they said, sometimes we need information or a tip to have a reason to go get involved. And so there are people that all of us as staff, if your child was to come forward and say, hey, I'm nervous about this friend. A lot of times that's how we find kids hurting, is that a friend will come forward and tell the counselor, and then the counselor will tell me, and then now I'm meeting with that friend and we're getting that friend help. So again, we are your village and you can always guide them in that, or if they're too afraid to do it, parents call all the time and express their concerns.
To stop it out too.
Yes, absolutely. If they want to be anonymous, 100%. Yeah.
So if you didn't know what Stop It app is, it's at the middle school and the high school level. You can anonymously report things on this application, and I think it's in the back of your planners for the middle school and the high school of the information that you
We have
download.
posters everywhere too.
Yeah, and you download it on your phone, and then you can anonymously report, hey, this is going on, I see this, I see that. The professionals can step in and handle it in a way that the student doesn't get focused on as being the snitch or the reporting party, that they get any kind of negative attention after the fact. This is all anonymous, and only if we need questions, further questions, then we can contact them through different means, but it is anonymous, and we would only do that if it's a safety concern.
Yes, I have the question, sir, is I just wanted to say that my son knows many kids who's using it. He says he cannot, he tells me not to tell their parents because parents are too strict. They're gonna take their phone away, they're not gonna give them money, they're not gonna let them come outside from the room. So they're gonna restrict too much to their kids. So he's saying it's not a good idea to talk to the parents, to their parents, or I'm not gonna talk to anybody. So do you have any message about those parents who are very strict and kids are afraid of talking to the parents, even though if they are using, their friends are even afraid of telling anyone that stop doing this or telling even the parents.
Yeah.
And he's telling me not to even tell parents.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about those parents?
And again, this is why we host things like this. We hope parents, not all parents can come, of course. The Stop It app is still a way if you wanted to get support for the student. Obviously, when we work with parents, we deal with that. Some parents are, want to just take everything away, and we help them navigate that. Or it could also be about, hey, let's think about what you could tell your friend because you're worried about them. Could you say to your friend, hey, I'm worried about you. Like, I see you doing this and this isn't you. And like, I will be a friend to support you through this. Like sometimes them just hearing it from a peer that that's not what they have to do and they have a positive friend relationship, even that can go a long way for kids. So some options. And again, sometimes guys, it's just about making sure your kids are okay. We can't save everybody's family and everybody, but again, these are all wonderful experiences to be celebrated, that your children are coming to you and saying, these are hard things that I'm dealing with and I want your guidance, I want your advice. That speaks volumes to their respect and value in your relationship that you have with them. But yeah, I would say the Stop It app is probably the safest way to go about that. If you really don't want your child involved or you, and again, all parents need help. We educate parents all the time about how being strict and controlling is sometimes what causes the kid to want to escape and use. So we do have these resources here at school.
Okay, well.
Thank you guys.
Oh, yes, there's another question.
Es un desmanche de eso, de las drogas. Y le digo, pero ¿cómo te lo aguantas? Dice, mami, es que yo quiero evitar porque huele mucho, a veces los baños entras y huele a, me están vapeando o así. Entonces no sé si había alguna manera de que un poquito más vigilancia. Y igual aquí también, tengo una aquí en la Walker, tengo otra en la Kennedy y de la misma manera me dicen lo mismo.
So she wants to know if there's a way to have more vigilance
in the bathroom is because her daughter at Kennedy says she avoids going to the bathroom all day. Because when she walks into the bathroom, there's a really strong odor, and that's when the drugs are happening. And that's what she doesn't want to go to the restroom. I was like, it's not okay for you not to go to the bathroom all day. And then she says Walker is the same, that her daughter, Walker says same things are happening.
My
They want to talk.
At our schools in Winter Park, even our high school, middle schools, elementaries, they do have vape machines, which I'm passing over to Officer Wilson here. I have the email on it. I'm not sure if you guys are getting that yet over here. It detects the vapes, marijuana smell, sometimes perfume, just depends how strong it is. But it has a meter. And if the meter's high, that's either vape or marijuana. If the meter's low, it's perfume or cologne, whatever you want to call it, for the boys. I'm passing that information on to Officer Wilson. I just got the information from our district. I'm going to pass on to him to pass on to the school and so on. So it's actually, it works really, really well. Okay, all administrators have the app. When something goes off, it alerts the administrators, and if you have campus security or safety
Safety, and we also have surveillance cameras as well.
Yeah, it alert everybody on whoever's on that app, and they can respond to that area. It tells you what bathroom it is, what area it's at, and if you just have cameras, like our cameras point to the restrooms.
Yes, ours do too.
If we don't have somebody available at the time to go over there, they review the camera, see who came out last.
And this just brings it back to being reactive, because we were being reactive, and this is proof that we're being reactive. This is the stuff that we're able to actually find in the bathrooms, that we are out there going in the bathrooms, walking around campus, but we can't stop everything. We can't be with every single kid when they walk in the bathroom. But unfortunately, it still happens. They hide it in their sock, but where does it come from? Typically off campus, bringing it in.
Yeah.
And then we, as proof, get it. And then we have to make decisions like this to try to prevent it and go further.
Another thing we have at our school, at one of our middle schools, is a metal detector, a hand wand. I'm not sure if you guys have that yet. Because most of the girls will put it in their bras or their socks or their shoes or their underwear. And we give them the choice, hey, tell us where it's at now, or you're going to be wand. And they sign off on that kind of stuff at the beginning of school.
That's a different school district.
It's a different school district. Just give you a heads up. It's a different school district.
Everyone's aware.
We're Winter Park City, Winter Park School District.
And we're Anaheim.
And they're Anaheim, so it's different. They all have different rules, but we will want our students if we have to. I don't. The administration does, but we do have to give them that warning. Cough it up first. If not, you're gonna be wand and so on. So, any questions on that? I'm hoping you guys get the vape machines over here eventually. I don't know. It's a different school district. So that's how we run it at our school.
And, if we're aware that there's a vape smell in the bathroom, we also do 5-star. So when the students check out to use the restroom, they sign out. So if we know that there's a vape smell, what we do is we see who's out of the restrooms. We also, like if it's during passing period, we find out, we can go ahead and look at our surveillance cameras and see who was in and out of that restroom. So that's how we catch kids too.
And I've been on campuses where they were working real quick, especially Kennedy too. They're on the cameras right when they smell a smell or a
Yes.
And then they look at the cameras, who was in there, and boom, they pull them right there, because we're trying to prevent them from then sharing it to other
With
kids.
someone else.
So it's happening routinely whenever we're not mind readers, we don't have a crystal ball. And we're not at every single bathroom all the time, but we are there most of the time, and we have routine checks at all in the bathroom. But staff, budgeting, everything, we don't have enough staff to be in every single bathroom.
I know that there were some online questions as well, so.
There was a question. Sorry, people keep typing here. What programs does Walker offer kids for more awareness?
So all the 7th graders at the beginning of the year, they went through a program in their PE classrooms. It was a 10-lesson through Waymakers. It's an organization in Orange County. So every 7th grader went through that. It's on the dangers of vaping, substance abuse. It was on choices that they make, peer pressure. So we did that. We also have, if students are caught with paraphernalia or different things, we do have a district program. It's called, it's a alternative to suspension at Brookhurst Junior High, and it's all about drug awareness. But every single 7th grader, they went through this year a 10-lesson program on the dangers. So we did that at the very beginning of the year. It was something new this year we did. Other questions online?
There was one about the Stop app.
Oh, the Stop It Up, yes.
Um,
Oh, and then you have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I want to tell parents about something right now
Okay.
is we can't be everywhere, but if your kids walk into a bathroom and they smell the smell of vape, they can just stop it up, hey, bathroom by room 18 smells like vape. And that will give us a cue, right? Because they're there, they're right there in the middle of it. And nobody knows it's anonymous. Like at the school that I used to work with, we actually got a Stop It app. This is how anonymous it is. Got a Stop It app where one of the teachers, I think my friend wants to hurt themselves, but they didn't give us the friend's name. So we couldn't find the name, and there was no way to trace who sent it to ask them what was the other kid's name.
You can, there's a chatting feature, so we can chat and say,
Yeah, you can chat to them, but I mean, you can't say, oh, it came from Christine, right? So, but we can all work together. We're a village. We can all work together to take care of each other. So,
Timmy,
How is this gonna work when the kids can't use their phones and computers?
they can use their Chromebooks as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
they can use their Chromebooks.
that's good to know.
And remember, the reason why we don't let students use their phones during the school day, they can keep it with them the whole time, is for their mental health and safety. We were having too many issues of, students bullying each other on social media during the school day. They could buy things through plugs during the school day. So we allow them to have it with them, but not turned on. So they can use their Chromebooks because they have access to that. Yes.
Stop It app is on their Chromebook?
They can log on their Chromebook, yes. Or they can let their teacher know, hey, because we allow students to use their if they need to use their phone sometimes, for an emergency or for something, they can go up to the main office and say, hey, I need to do this really fast. And we
They've
allow
been
them.
told it's on their Chromebook, like they know it's there.
They should, but we can go through that with them as well.
And it's also in the back of that planner.
Yeah.
Giving the info on that. It's been around a while, but it is very useful. We've seen it, and it'll go to all administrators as soon as they.
Yeah, immediately. And then we start chatting with them and stuff. So, Christine?
Last night at the superintendent's parent advisory committee meeting, they talked a little bit about this topic and resources, and they really, Mr. Sidhu wants parents to be involved more at like the LCAP level, because then you can have more resources. And he talked about how they have these SROs like shared across all of the district now, but they're very expensive. But in order for us to have the things that we would be interested in, not just staff and admin, we need to participate in those meetings so that we can advocate afterwards to be there for us, right? So we want more preventative measure instead of reactive.
And that's a
We have
really
to be
good,
there now.
really good point, because it's all about needs. And that's how departments work too. For instance, like, different resources that we have at a police level, you have to show the need for it and request the need for it. Showing the need and parents requesting the need is going to, ring the bell and provide potential funding for it.
So LCAP's coming early next year, so please be on those committees.
So that's local control accountability plan. So all stakeholders have a voice, and we have meetings at the district office, and we all give our input on what our money is used for. So it's really important that if you can't participate, you do. Thank you, Christine, for that. What we're going to do next is we're going to take a short break. Dr. Sidhu and I have a little talk on attendance, but we want to give you the opportunity to come up here, look at the items, talk to our school resource officers. And we do want to thank both Ms. Flores and all of our officers here for coming today and being here. So we thank all of you as well. So we'll take a short break, grab some coffee, come look up here and ask questions. So short break, come on up.